Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
The San Diego Council on Literacy brings you Literacy for All with your host, Jose Cruz.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Jose Cruz. You're listening to the Literacy for All radio show on WS Radio. And we're talking to Cindy Dunlevy from San Diego County Office of Education, and also Jessica McCreary. And we're shifting our focus over to the work that Jessica does as an executive leadership coach. And maybe some of our listeners have had a leadership coach before. But I'm guessing, Jessica, in your case, most of the time, sometimes maybe you do other kinds of leadership coaching, but it seems like that the emphasis in this case is helping principals become better professionals and really good at their jobs, and it's an important job. Tell us in general what that's like, how that works.
Yeah, so it's not, when people hear coach, they think, ooh, there must be something wrong with you, and it's not that kind of setup. We can be on hire for that, but really the most of our work, there's a team of about 12 of us, and most of us, I would say 95% of our caseload are either a district who has hired us to come in and provide some individualized coaching with the principals to help, because they tend to be newer principals, and to help them problem solve, things going on in the schools, to help them, improve student achievement, and help the teachers feel more like a part of a team, and so on and so forth. And then there are a large caseload of principals that we are coaching because they are clearing their credential. And in the state of California, it's required that you do 80 hours of coaching.
What does that mean, clearing your credentials?
It means that to become a principal is a lot of work you have to do. You have to first earn your preliminary credential, which is usually about a 2 years worth of coursework is usually how it's done.
It's a principal's credential.
Yes.
Okay.
Administrative credential. So you can be an assistant principal with it, or a principal, or a district leader, but it's an administrative credential, and you have to get the preliminary part of it first, which usually takes some kind of learning and coursework. And then once you get that, and then you get a position in an administrative position somewhere in a district, then you have to clear the credential. In order to clear it, you have to have 80 documented hours of coaching with one of us.
Okay.
And they don't have to sign up with our program. There are universities that have programs, but we're finding that a lot of organizations that used to have a clear credential program aren't able to do it anymore because they don't have the time to offer 80 hours of coaching. But we're a team that does that coaching, and so we travel all around the county, and we each have our own caseload, and we offer regular, timely coaching, and it's job embedded. And so we're out there right in the middle of the crises that they're facing every day, and we're helping them problem solve through that. But then at the same time, we're trying to help them keep their eyes focused on the long-term effects of their leadership, and not just do the day-to-day, like today I had to solve this crisis, today I have to do this discipline with this child, today I have to deal with that angry parent, but actually stay focused on, so how are you going to make long-term changes that'll actually impact student achievement in a really positive way?
Boy, that's quite a challenge, yes, because we're talking about young people, talking about families, we're talking about communities that at risk and such, and all the things that happen in those communities. Let me take it back just a little bit. How do you get to be an executive coach? Well, here's the devil's advocate. Were you ever a principal? Did you ever get that? Were you ever a principal?
Yep, it's an actual rule that we follow. You can't be part of our team unless you've been in the trenches and you've actually served in administrative roles. I myself, I've served as an AP for a period of time. I was a school principal for a period of time, and I was even a district administrator for a period of time. And so at all three levels, I obviously learned a lot and was able to prove my practice, as effective. And then it's a pretty competitive process to become someone on our team, because we obviously want to make sure that we're, when we're out there coaching, that we have the ideas that can help shape, the leadership roles that people are really trying to do out there.
And so is there something we would call a principal school? Is it Is it, where the principals
Yeah.
go to, right?
So that would be the preliminary administrative credential part. So that basically, well, now there's two routes you can take. Just in the last couple of years, state of California decided that they would have this test that you can take, and if you pass that test, that'll give you the equivalent of your preliminary administrative
Okay.
credential. But most people are smart enough to know that just passing a test is not going to give you all the knowledge and skills that you need to be able to run a school. And so the majority of the people actually go into either a university program or in our program at the county office, where it's a preliminary administrative services credential program, and they take several courses with us. They come to school on Saturdays with us and do a lot of online work and a lot of practicum, and we guide them through all that, giving them the right skills to get started.
Yeah.
And then once they get launched and actually interview and get hired for a administrative position, then we're there also to provide the coaching if they want to, use us as coaches for their.
Very good. Now, I understand why people get into teaching. I get that. Why did you want to be a principal? What are these individuals that you're coaching want to be principals?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's one that I think if you're one of the best of them, you ask yourself every day, why am I doing
Well,
this?
yeah, right.
Because it's very hard work, and you have to really believe in a cause to stick with it. For me, I felt like, as a teacher, I was having a really solid impact on the students that I had in my classroom. And then I started to look up and outside the doors of my classroom and realize, you know what, I think I can have an impact on those kids too.
Yeah.
And I wanted to broaden my impact, and I wanted to support teachers in ways that I thought sometimes they weren't being supported to really do the best work that they could do. And I just felt like I had ideas that I could contribute to that. And I strongly believed in the cause that each and every single student is capable of learning. And unfortunately, our schools tell kids the opposite quite often.
Yeah.
And I don't mean it's any one person, it's just the way our system is set up. We tend to really instill this fear of failure in learning. And once that feeling has set in to a child, unfortunately, it can set them down the wrong path, and they can start believing that they can't do it. And,
Right.
and then we see dropout rates, and we see all kinds of other issues surface because of that.
Yeah, so you want principals to get their teachers excited about teaching so the students are excited about
Yeah,
learning.
right.
And so there's some of that is aptitude. And tell me how much that comes into play because, well, let me share a quote with you. See, hopefully it works in this. The difference between a manager and a leader, and you probably heard this one. A manager is someone who does things right, and a leader is someone who does the right things.
Yeah.
So, are you looking for both? And I guess you are. Can you always get both? You have people who they're not cut out for
We
being
believe
principals.
in our program that management, you can learn. You'll pick it up. We don't even have to teach it. Literally, when you're out there, you're going to have to run your budgets. You're going to have to create your plans. You're going to have to worry about the safety, routes on the campus. You figure all that stuff out.
Yeah.
You don't even have to teach that. It's the leadership experience and skills that we feel like we do need to teach.
Yeah.
And that's where we try to bring out our coachees. When we're coaching them, we try to bring their attention to, so what's the leadership work you're doing as you are managing today's work, and we try to get them focusing on change leadership. Like, how do you lead people through change? How do you worry about the social, emotional welfare of both students and staff? How do you have these sensitive conversations about implicit bias that we know is prevalent in our schools?
Man.
And all that takes leadership skills, not management skills.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot involved there, and in the course of you doing the coaching that you're doing, what do you perceive to be the biggest challenge areas? Or if someone says, "Hey, you know what? I need a restart. I need a recharge." What's happening to them, or what are the things that maybe you see you need to emphasize more with
With a principal themselves?
Uh-huh.
Typically, it's because they, especially when they're newer in the position, they overdo it. They feel like they believe so much in the reason why they got into the position. They feel like they have to do it all, and they're working from 4 a.m. till 10 p.m. at night, and they have their own kids also that they're trying to take care of.
Yeah.
And they're giving their all into the school, and they're trying to rally the teachers every day and have everything ready and everything to a T. see, and what we have to teach them is that actually is not helpful for your school. You may feel like you're doing the right work, but you're actually not, because you're not instilling a sense of ownership in your staff. And if they don't have ownership in the school and in the work of the school, then you're not going to get the results you want.
Man, it sounds like, the workplace, and I think we sometimes forget about the school culture and such.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of responsibility at the top and such. So, thank goodness for the people who want to be in these positions. Cindy, you taught before. I mean, maybe it's been a few years. How did you feel about the principals you worked under? How important were they to you?
Very important, especially when they were there for a while, and the consistency and the positivity that they brought to, as Jessica mentioned, both the students and the staff. It really impacts the school culture to have that leader. So
they set the tone, and I guess it's sometimes like, I'm just thinking of a meeting I was in today. I knew walking into this room to do what I had to do, and it was just instinctive. And I have to say that the people in that room were already something was happening before I got there, so they were already excited. And so you have to do something with that. You have to tune into the culture and to the vibes maybe of your school. One of the things I was taught a few years ago was that every nonprofit organization has a soul, and that you need to protect that soul. And I think schools, we agree that schools have a soul too.
Yeah, that's a good point, because some new principals come into a school thinking, I have to make this school mine.
Yeah.
And actually, no, you have to become theirs.
Yeah.
You have to find out what their soul is.
Very
and
good.
you have to fit into that.
Very good. Man, and that's to me that's a whole other conversation. It's very exciting. So we're gonna come back just in a few. We're gonna have another break and talk about a little bit more about what's happening with professional development for principals, more on the database stuff, and more information about how you can get more information on these topics. You're listening to the Literacy for All radio show on WS Radio, the worldwide leader in Internet talk.
I've heard this is like one of the best pizza spots in town.
Yes, it is.
I'll do a slice of pepperoni, slice of vegetarian.
You got it.
And I will pay for all of that in 3 days.
In 3 days? What's that mean?
Well, wait, you accept credit cards. That money's not going to hit your account for 3 days anyway.
I need my money quicker.
At Chase, we hear you. With Express Funding, card payments are in your Chase account the next business day. Go to chase.com/expressfunding. Chase for business, so you can.
Compensated participation. All businesses are subject to credit approval. Not all clients are eligible for next business day funding, and additional terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
Donate cash, furniture, clothes, and other gently used household items to Father Joe's Villages and get a nice tax break in April. Every donation is tax deductible. Believe you can make a difference. Be Father Joe. Go to neighborhood.org or call 1-800-HOMELESS to donate today.
Life is full of misadventures, from car crashes to home fires to getting choked out on the mat. Yes, I said getting choked out because I'm Carlos Kramer, jiu-jitsu competitor, MMA and media personality, and mild-mannered insurance agent. You can follow my adventures on Kick-Ass Radio, and I can protect you from life's misadventures at Kramer Insurance. Home, auto, life, business, and workers' comp. We're at KramerINS.com, and I want you to join my world.
This is Bill Gruber with BizVid Communications, a Southern California video production leader. We've been honored to sponsor, produce, write, and host many of the fine programs on WS Radio over the years. So we understand how important the internet and your website exposure are. As video producers, we know the tricks and secrets to incorporate video to increase your search engine optimization and business success. Visit bizvidcommunications.com to see what we can do for you. BIZVID communications.com.
Too much to do? Not enough time to get it done? Call on the experts at Another 8 Hours for your business support needs. By partnering with Another 8 Hours, we allow you to focus on the more important matters, like being in front of your clients, doing what you do best, rather than being stuck at a desk poring over paperwork, rummaging through emails, returning phone calls, and struggling to get everything done by yourself. Meanwhile, your family and social life are going down the drain. Go to another8hours.com or call 8 more hours. That's 866-734-6877.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect.
Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.
Can you imagine a world without children? A world where children don't play, or dream, or imagine.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're working every day to find cures for diseases that strike down children, because we can't imagine a world without children. Can you?
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. To learn how you can help, log on to our website, stjude.org.
Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
The San Diego Council on Literacy brings you Literacy for All with your host, Jose Cruz.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Jose Cruz. You're listening to the Literacy for All radio show on WS Radio. Our guests are Cindy Dunlevy and Jessica McCreary. They're both with the San Diego County Office of Education and working under Learning and Leadership. This is our last segment with you, so we're going to try to get a bit of information in so that we don't ask ourselves later on, why didn't we talk about that? But I want to tell a story real quickly. Remembering when I was in elementary school, what school principals did or what I thought they did, which to me is just it was almost like they were regal. So they were like, you saw them, there's the principal. And what do they do? Well, they give you a swat if you've been bad. Other than that, we don't know. And then a few years ago, I was given the opportunity to be the principal of the day at my elementary school. And I was following around the school principal, and it's like, what's going on here? Because she got out into the neighborhood. She knew the kids. She knew what was going on in the families, what kids needed more help. They knew her. They came up to her. They come up, get hugs and all that kind of stuff. I was like, this was really different. I'm not sure if it's still like that because this was about 5 years ago, but being a principal has changed. Am I right?
Yeah, and what you just described at that school is a role model, that a principal who really engages with the community, with the students, with their students' families, really knows their staff and is out there. We call that, really interpersonal leadership, and that's supporting the social, emotional, welfare of everyone in the school and being truly connected with who you have in your school building. And that's hard work. You got to spend time, you got to slow down your work, and you got to take time to get to know people and pay attention to what's important to people that you're working with and working for. And yeah, that's a good example.
Well, what it reminded me of was the role that the pastor played at our church. So here was a person who also knew the families and such, and people would come to church, and so, they would come to him, and that's where he maybe would learn about what's going on in different families. More of a community person,
right?
So more outreach and such. Now that conflicts with a era we're in now, where we, when in the history of humanity have we had the internet? It's been like the last. I'm trying to think when I. My AOL account, 1989.
Yeah, I was going to say late 80s. That's when I learned to get on the internet.
Yeah. So now it's we used to worry about the kids who just weren't real social and needed immediate reinforcement, but they weren't really good with other students. We're turning our students into that, or are we? And what role? And Cindy, I want you to chime in on that. What role? Are we playing as a resource, as a trainer or principals, and making sure that there's balance?
Yeah, it's definitely a current problem of practice that we're all facing, and it's one that really no one knows completely the answers because research is still coming out, and we're still just starting to see the results of our efforts in working with more technology in the classrooms. But there is now a great concern about the amount of screen time that we're putting our own students, in front of in the school setting, in addition to knowing that they have a lot of screen time at home too, and trying to figure out, when we put them in front of a screen, is it useful? Is it really promoting learning? Is it necessary? Or is the human interaction, more important depending on what they're learning or practicing? And it's a question that we grapple with every day. And all I know is that, the number one test for me is that I just get on my knees and I look at what the student is doing. I
Yeah.
look at the actual activity they're doing online. And if it looks like it's something that's getting them to, push their thinking in some way, and if I ask them a question about what are you thinking about as you do this, what are you learning about, why are you doing this, and they can answer with some quality responses, then I know it's probably a useful activity. But if they're saying, I don't know, I'm just doing whatever the computer's telling me to do, or another one I see and hear all the time is, I'm just pressing this button just to get through it.
Right,
And
right.
so,
Yeah.
or if they're doing research, if they're just basically out on the open internet and they're Googling something and you see the first top, 10 responses to their search aren't really the kind of searches you want them looking into.
Yeah.
Those are concerns.
Yeah.
And so that's when the principal really needs to take a step back and see if this is a pattern across all classrooms. And if it is, should we be doing professional learning with the staff?
Mm-hmm.
Should we bring in someone like Cindy to help us understand the resources we can have access to that are better?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe teach us how to use those resources. And, it's an ongoing question that I don't think everyone anyone
still
has a
learning.
solid answer for
We're
yet.
still learning. So, Cindy,
Yeah.
in your work to promote these services, do you come across the dilemma, in essence, in coaching educators about the resources that are online resources, also understanding that there are other ways for our young people to acquire information?
Well, something that Jessica mentioned about too much screen time, I did want to say that I work with a lot of school librarians, and they're making changes in the school library now. They're not just teaching kids how to use the Dewey Decimal System, but they are actually providing, making their school libraries a learning commons. So it's not just be quiet and sit down and read a book. They have games in there, tactile games, which we don't have enough tactile things to do anymore.
Yeah.
You can't slam down a telephone anymore.
Yeah.
And there's art that they can do. There might be all sorts of technology things in there, such as 3D printers and little nooks for them to read, and trying to encourage collaboration among students and creativity, and helping them communicate and looking at resources with more of a critical eye. So there are some changes out there in school libraries. As far as the databases go, I think they are something that can level the information field, because certain schools might have access to a lot more resources than other schools. So that's why I like to talk about them and make sure that everyone knows they're out there and that they're there at no charge for them to use.
And how can they access these?
Well, if they need information, it's actually found at the California State Library site at library.ca.gov, and scroll down to find K-12 online content. And there's the FAQs, information on how to use the resources, information on why to use them, everything that you need to know, including contact numbers if you want to make sure your children's school or your school has signed up to have them easily located on their school website, so students can just click on the icon and bam, they're in Britannica.
Very good. So is that what's happening, that on school websites you'll be able
Yeah.
to? Okay, very good to hear.
Yeah.
Good to hear. And how can people find you, Jessica, if they're looking for help or more information?
Yeah, if they wanted to earn an administrative credential and take our coursework, they could go to the San Diego County Office of Education website, so that'd be SDCOE.net, and they can put in the search bar PASC program, which is Preliminary Administrative Services Credential Program.
Very good, very good. Well, this is fantastic information. Maybe we can come back another time and talk about, one of the things I'm hearing more and more about is mediation and helping our kids who are, in a way, we're putting them into workstations, and at the same time they have to interact with each other. And so just something I want you guys to come back, maybe help out with, because it's really important that we do something with those opportunities when the kids are not online. And so what are the things that are happening in real life that they have to come across? So
The soft skills.
The soft skills, right. Right. Can we teach people to be leaders? That's a whole other question.
Can we teach people to be kind?
Yeah, right. I think we can. But part of it is just making sure we're getting more practice working and being engaged with each other and such. So thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Cindy, for being on the show. We really appreciate you helping us generate content for our listeners because they're looking for answers and want to know that things are in good hands with our school leadership and with the resources that are being provided to our young people. So appreciate it. So I'll have you back in the future.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm Jose Cruz. You've been listening to the Literacy for All radio show on WS Radio, the worldwide leader in Internet talk.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children. After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The World Link program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
In the military, things can change in an instant. Your personal life is just the same. Just like you protect our country, you want your family protected. That's why thousands of military members trust Navy Mutual Life Insurance. Navy Mutual is nonprofit, providing current and former Navy, Marine, and Coast Guard families with life insurance, no sales fees, and no military service restrictions. Protecting members on active duty and beyond. Call 1-800-628-6011, 800-628-6011, NavyMutual.org, insuring those who serve.
Nowadays, internet devices are an integral part of your home. Everyone in your family has a smartphone, tablet, or a computer. Life is easier knowing that all your devices are secured and your family can surf the internet carefree. ESET Multi-Device Security Pack does just that. One license for all your devices. With ESET, it's simple to stay protected and save money. Enjoy safer technology with ESET Multi-Device Security Pack at ESET.com. That's ESET.com.
I've heard this is like one of the best pizza spots in town.
Yes, it is.
I'll do a slice of pepperoni, slice of vegetarian.
You got it.
And I will pay for all of that in 3 days.
In 3 days? What's that mean?
Well, wait, you accept credit cards. That money's not going to hit your account for 3 days anyway.
I need my money quicker.
At Chase, we hear you. With Express Funding, card payments are in your Chase account the next business day. Go to chase.com/expressfunding. Chase for business, so you can.
Compensated participation. All businesses are subject to credit approval. Not all clients are eligible for next business day funding, and additional terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McCullough brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcCullough.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McCulloughe. ChristopherMcCullough.com.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. MOZEguitars.com, 619-698-1185.